Live with CDP Sports Talk, a weekly sports and entertainment podcast sponsored by Barry Cullen Chevrolet. Live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and LinkedIn. And on audio via Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Spotify, Anchor FM, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Radio Public, and TuneIn. Now, here's your host, Chris Palme.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Season 10, Episode 4, overall 499 of Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show, sponsored by Barry Cullen Chevrolet Dealership at 905 Woodlawn Road West in the Guelph Auto Mall. Check out barrycullen.com for the newest selection of new and pre-owned GM vehicles, along with their great selection of all-electric vehicles and their Cadillac products as well. You can call the dealership at 519-824-0210 and tell them Chris Palme sent you, or you can email them at info@barrycullen.com. Barry Cullen Chevrolet Dealership has been family run and operated here in the city of Guelph since 1969, and yours truly has been a customer of Barry Cullen Chevrolet Dealership for the last 25 years. And Barry Cullen Chevrolet has been a proud major sponsor of Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show for the last 2.5 years. Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show is also brought to you by Wellington Brewery at 950 Woodlawn Road West here in Guelph, Ontario, not far from Barry Cullen Chevrolet. Check out their website, wellingtonbrewery.ca. Try a Welly on, and please remember to drink responsibly. And Wellington Brewery is celebrating their 40th year as one of Canada's local oldest craft breweries as well, proudly Canadian. And Wellington Brewery has been a sponsor of this show since last November. So please check out Wellington Brewery as well as Barry Cullen Chevrolet. I hope everyone is doing well on this. I can't believe it's already Monday, February 24th, 2025. And the weather here in Ontario is +6, and we're losing some of that 3 feet of snow we had. And but I don't mind winter, so I'm excited today. I've got a pair of guests coming on today, a husband and wife duo, Malachi and Dani Luv, known as the LuvLees. They are a husband and wife comedy duo out of Detroit, Michigan, and I'm excited to bring them on right now. And we're going to talk a little bit about comedy, a little bit about Dani's book, and a little bit about their podcast show called Is This the Real Love Podcast? And Malachi and Dani are Detroit Lion fans too, but we won't hold that against them. And we're going to bring them on this afternoon right now. Good afternoon. How are you?
Hello, Chris. What an introduction.
Thank you. Well, hey, I appreciate you coming on. Go Eagles. But hey, that's okay. You guys had the Lions had a great year, man. You just ran into a very good Washington team, and you guys had a lot of injuries on the defensive side of the ball, and you know what? You guys will be back next year.
We will be back, and we'll see you all in the NFC Championship next year. I'm marking it now, so we'll see. We'll be there. So hopefully y'all will be back.
Right, yeah, exactly.
But congrats to y'all.
Who's the bigger?
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was glad to see the Eagles win once it was between the Eagles and the Chiefs.
No, go ahead.
So.
Everybody's gotten sick of Kansas City, but you know what? If Philadelphia wins again and again, then Philly will become the villain. That's what happens in life. You start out as a good guy, and then at the end, if you become very successful,
exactly,
you end up becoming the villain. Just like in Star Wars, because I know you got that Star Wars shirt on.
Oh yeah, may the force be with you.
Yes, yes. So, how are things in Detroit, Michigan right now in terms of weather-wise and comedy and stuff like that?
It's starting to brighten up today. It looks like it's getting warmer.
It's warming up for sure.
Yeah.
I think we are in the 40s, which is really good. We've been in last week, we was like in the 15, 18 range.
Negatives.
Yeah, so it's.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
Yeah, the snow is starting to melt, so that's a great feeling. I can tell spring is near. So.
Are you guys excited about your Detroit Tigers training camp already in Lakeland?
I am
Oh
excited
yeah,
about that.
yes.
We ended the last season very well, so I am very excited to how we ramp up at this season. Hopefully, make a stronger run so that we're not scratching and clawing towards the end, but just actually solidifying our spot in the playoffs. So I'm excited to see. Definitely want to catch some baseball games this year.
Yeah, last year we went to
We
one or
went to
two.
one, yeah, last
Yeah,
year.
it was fun.
So yeah, a lot of fun.
I'm 52 years old, almost 53. Do you ever remember a time that all the Detroit teams were good at the same time?
Nah, I
Mm.
want to say this is the first time that is definitely in my lifetime for sure, but it's a rare thing. It's usually like two, maybe. Mainly having two. Like the Wings have been good for a while. The Tigers were decent for a while, and then it was like the Pistons and the Lions were sucky for the last decade. So we are finally getting some grip now. So
Detroit's a great sports city, and I have family that lives in Michigan. I've got cousins that live in Taylor, Michigan, and Allen Park, Michigan. And when I grew up, I loved Tiger Stadium, Joe Louis Arena, the Big House, and it's just a great state to visit and
yeah,
great sports town. And I was at the NFL draft this year, covering the NFL draft for as media, and
Oh
I'll tell you
wow.
this: the Red Wings, Tigers, Pistons are huge. But if the Lions ever win a Super Bowl, I think there'd be 2 or 3 million people. I found out firsthand how much Detroit and Michigan loves the Detroit Lions.
Oh
yes,
yeah. We
yes,
love the Lions. I don't
yeah.
even know anything about sports, but I love the Lions.
Super fans, super fans, and you know we good fans when we stuck it through the bad
Yeah,
times.
because it was a long time of bad.
Yeah,
Bad.
yeah, and they were still selling out tickets. Still, you know,
Mhm.
they were cheering like every game, just cheering so hard. I used to work down at Ford Field during the games, and every game was just so berserk. You know, win or lose, we were always there. So.
Mhm.
What was your favorite part of this season then?
My favorite part of this season was just the overall success, the feeling around the city itself. You felt a sense of camaraderie among everyone. You know, you see people with Lions gear and everybody Lions gear or not, everybody. Hey, you see somebody go Lions. That was like the way to greet people
Mhm.
this past year.
That was
Like,
the hello.
yeah, go Lions, go
Mhm.
Lions. Like it brought people together. And riding the wave of last year, like we had good success last year. We it came out of nowhere. So like that was the beginning stages of our success.
Mhm.
So with this year, it was like the expectations were high. I think that's what the biggest thing was. And that's why I feel so wrong to be let down in such a way
Mhm.
because we expected, although we are fighting injuries and all these things, we still expected to get further than we did last year.
Mhm.
You know, and I feel like the team gelled way like better than last year, even though last year was good. But this past year,
Yeah.
where they gelled, it was just really good to see.
Mhm.
But heartbreaking when we
It was,
lost.
and then we had to like host a Super Bowl party.
Yeah, yeah, we
It
signed
was
on to
sad.
do it before we knew the Lions weren't going to be in it.
Yeah, we
So
thought they were winning, so we were like, yeah, we'll do
yeah,
Well,
it.
hey, and being a Philadelphia Eagles fan, the Eagles have had their share of disappointments in the playoffs too. And sometimes, you know this in life, sometimes you have to go through setbacks and adversity before you become successful. And you even appreciate that success more knowing that you came from hard times. So that's what I love about sports. You're not always going to win every year, but it also teaches you life lessons, and
Yeah.
also it actually unites people no matter where you are in the world. The love of sports unites people. It does not divide people.
it
Mhm.
does. I totally agree.
Yeah.
I totally agree, and that's a great point. You know, and that's a part of what we're dealing with now is just life. You know, when you sometimes you do lose, and it
Mhm.
hurts. You know, and you lose things, you lose people. But it shows you, like you said, you have to look forward to the victory. It makes you get back on the saddle, get back on the horse,
Mhm.
and push forward towards the victory because it will happen.
And it's like with my career too, I've had a lot of successes, but I've also had a lot of setbacks. I never use the word failure. I call them temporary setbacks. And no matter what career you're in, not everything's going to go perfectly. And you have to have a strong mindset, but also a strong will if you want to be successful in whatever career you are.
That's
Hundred
so
percent,
true.
100%. That's so
Yeah.
key. You know, a lot of people success can seem so automatic sometimes,
But you don't know what they went through behind closed doors.
Yeah. And most people that are successful in almost any form have endured something, that could have been their stopping point. We all have faced that. Man, I'm gonna just stop right here, but you got to find ways to keep going and through the success of others. And I like that you don't call it a failure, because it's a part of success. You have to know what it feels like to not get it so you can know what it feels like to get it. What would be the point of if it just everything just worked out on the first time? What would be the point?
Like, will you really appreciate it?
Will you? Because you barely worked for it. So when you get to that level, that dream that you had, if it just worked out, what would be the point of it? So it's tough, but
And what I love, I was going to say, what I love about doing this is the storytelling. Every time I have a guest on, is the storytelling aspect and the learning aspect. And no matter if you're in a classroom or you're outside of a classroom, learning never stops.
It doesn't. That's 100% true. And you have to embrace those life lessons, however they come. It can. You mainly you want things to happen a certain way. You want the lesson to happen in an easy way, a soft way, communicated to you a soft way. But life doesn't do that. Life will sometimes try to choke you out, and you try to find new levels of strength through the different adversities, and that builds you into a new character. It forges you into a new character. You think of new ways to succeed, because plan A through Z didn't even work. Now I got to go plan A1.
1, 2, right?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
5.
Everything I had is gone in my mind now.
And if you don't go to plan A1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, then what? Then you just stop. What's the point? It's like, then all that hard work is just pointless.
Yeah.
So
you can't stop.
You got to keep going.
You cannot stop. That's not an option. And it's, whatever, like, if people have faith in God or not, adversity is adversity, and that adversity wants you to quit. So you're either going to give in to it or you're going to get through it. Those are two options you have. Like, it's no in between. It's no, you could take a break, but you can't stop.
You got to keep going.
And that's what I'm doing. I'm 52 years old. I'm self-taught, self-made, and I love doing this. And I have a lot of people that support me, but I've also had to block out the skeptics and naysayers. And no matter what career you're in, you're always going to get people that are skeptics and naysayers. And I just use that as fuel for motivation.
100%. That's what you got to do. Take it and use it. Put it in the tank. Go harder. That's what it is. People take that for granted too. The fact that, like, man, all these people don't think I can do it. Okay, well, first prove yourself, and then that'll prove anything that you ever need to prove. Is you proving it to yourself.
The people don't matter anyway. So if God gave you a vision, a purpose, or whatever, that's all that matters. You got to just do it.
Yep.
And the thing is, I was in another career for 23 and a half years, and I was in security, and I liked it, and they paid me well. But at the end, I was not happy. And you know what? I know money's important, but if you're not happy doing something, then it's time to move on to something else. And I found my passion later in life. And I wanted to ask you, how did you guys meet? And then how did you end up becoming a husband-wife comedy duo, which I think is terrific? And you guys are called the LuvLees.
Yeah, so we have a good journey here. We
met in 2018.
Yep. Doing a play. I was one of the characters in the play. She was
stage
manager,
doing a lot of stuff.
Yeah. So we met then, and it was just professional relationship. It was just, hi, she's doing this role, I'm doing this role. We're doing what we're doing. So the lead role in the play, his name is Mike Larry. He's a 20-year Detroit comedian veteran, and he was the lead role. And I had started doing stand-up comedy at that point in my life, but I had stopped due to some setbacks, due to failures, and I subconsciously chose to quit. And so he kind of learned that about me, and he said, well, if you want to get back into it, I can help you. And me not knowing, like, he was like 15, close to 15 years in at the time, and I'm not knowing the weight of what that meant, that this veteran wants to help me. I didn't take advantage of it. So a couple years go by, he starts doing comedy classes. He did start doing stand-up classes. And he got in touch with me. He told me he was doing the first one. I was still kind of scared. And then in 2021, I got back into comedy. He called me, said he was doing a class. I said, oh, let me join this class. I joined the class.
And then I saw that the class was on Facebook. I've known Mike Larry since for a long time, since 2006. And people always told me that I was funny. And I'm like, but I don't know how to be funny on purpose. So I told him, like, I'm thinking about taking your class. And he was like, well, you can do it. I think you can do it. And I was like, oh, okay. So I just took the class. I didn't know I was going to be a comedian. I'm always trying to learn something new. I got 2 degrees. I'm always trying to learn something. And so we get to the class and we're like, oh, I remember you. Because he was in the same class as me.
Yeah. Familiar faces. Just it made us a little more comfortable in the class. Like, I remember you. I remember you. So we spent a year in that. After the class, he had a graduation. That was November of 2021. He had a graduation. Since that graduation, he was producing a weekly show at this place in Detroit. So we were doing that show every week. It told us how to produce a show. Each of the class members got a chance to host. So he was teaching us how to produce, how to host, how to market, and how to perform weekly. Like we learned a lot of experience doing that. And then we also was hitting different open mics in the Metro Detroit comedy community. And so people in the class, we would all be in this chat like, hey, what mics we going to tonight? Because he was telling us you got to hit at least three mics a week to get better, to get good. So we all going at it. And so we just became good friends. We were very good friends. Then I got a good friend of mine into the class. Because he had started comedy before and he stopped. So I said, hey, this class would be good for you. It'll help me. So he joined the class. And so he's also in this whole year goes by. Of us all hitting mics and staying close. And so after the year, he talked to her and talked to me separately. He said, hey, you guys are like kind of perfect for each other. Like, what's going on? Like the chemistry is there and we friends. Like, so when he talked to me, I said, well, nah, Dani doesn't like me. He like, yes, she do. Like,
he said Dani respects me as a man.
He's like, nah, she respect me. She like you.
And he talked to me. I was like, I said, no, we just friends or whatever. He's like, well, I told him that you liked him. I was like, I didn't say I like him. So he's like, well, his jokes, you be laughing extra hard at his jokes, so you gotta like him. He was like, they'd be funny, but not as bad, as funny as you laughing.
Yeah. And so I wasn't gonna say anything about it. I was just gonna let it pass because I knew where I was in my life. I didn't want to mess up. I didn't want to mess up our friendship, and I wasn't ready for full-on commitment. So I'm like, I'm not even gonna go there. And
I said something because I didn't want it to be awkward because I told him not to tell Malachi that I knew that he liked me so we could just be friends. But he told Malachi that I knew. So I'm like, when I'm around him, I don't want to feel awkward. So I asked him like, hey, what's going on? And he was like, hey, I do like you emotionally, mentally, spiritually, physically, everything. But I can't give you anything. I can only offer you penis.
Yeah, that's what I told her. That's definitely what I told her. And I was just trying to be very honest with her. And so we became closer friends.
Yeah, I was like, I'm not taking that offer, but we can be friends.
Yeah, so we began being closer friends. We started talking like daily. And it just was organic. Like, I just wanted to talk to her. She wanted to talk to me. We were talking about life. She was dating people at the time. I was dating people, involved with people. And we would just be very open with the stuff that we were doing because we were just cool. And certain nights we would just be on the phone for hours, just as friends.
6 o'clock in the morning. One time he was in, where were you at? Texas. He was on the phone at like 6 o'clock in the morning, just talking, laughing.
Yeah. And so then time goes by. We went out together as friends to the movies. It was November 11th, 2022. We went to the movies. And we had an amazing time. Like, we had so much fun. We didn't even kiss or nothing, but we just had so much fun. Like, we were laughing. Like, the whole night was an experience. And that kind of was like our first date, technically. Then I went out of town. I came back, and it was like late November is when we really started dating into December.
Yeah, because I had a show, and I hired him for it.
And chemistry like really grew in. And so we like, okay, well, maybe this is something. And we started then we became exclusively dating. And then in January of 2023, I asked her to be my girlfriend. We spent the year dating. January of 2024. I asked her to be my wife. And then we got married March 13th, 2024.
Congratulations. I know I'm a little late, but congratulations. And I know this isn't a relationship show, but for those people watching, and I feel this is the best way to go, but if you're looking to get into a relationship, I think starting out as friends is the best way to start out, in my opinion.
It's so important. It's way more important than what people make it. You know, people put sex in the forefront, and sex and intimacy is a big part of it. But you're gonna live regularly more than you're involved sexually. Like you're gonna wake up just as yourself. You're gonna go home. You're gonna go to work. Like you're gonna spend your day doing just life. And if you can't collab and connect with someone in regular life, it's hard to stay connected. You can have sexual chemistry with people, but not be friends with them. And that's, you need both. You need it all for you to coexist for years on end. Like,
yeah, because life is going to, like, you can both be happily with each other, but life will send you some things and you'll have to get through those things together.
Yeah. And as friends, you know, you respect the friendship, and it allows you to grow, as the friendship helps you stay together as a couple, because you have this aspect when it's something hard that you need to communicate. And it's like, hey, just talk to me as a friend then. Like, put your friend hat on, you know, and we have those moments. And it's like, okay, now I can just say it how I would my friend, you know, and I'm not, you know, not necessarily trying to protect that person's heart in that moment, just so you can communicate honestly. You know, it just helps so much. It's so crucial. Like, I would advise people to just focus on friendships, like, because ours was organic. It just grew organically. We weren't looking, but
It was
one
definitely a surprise for both of us. Like,
big
we
surprise.
were like, we didn't know.
Yeah, and just be aware of what you want, one, and stop looking for it. Like, know what you want so you can identify it when you find it, but just still continue to work on yourself, and it'll be right there in your face. And then when it's time, you'll know. You know, but as long as you keep working on you, you focus on your craft, and that's how we made each other focused on our craft. We adding new parts of our purpose in life, and once you're in your purpose, you're working on yourself, you're elevating in these different ways. It'll happen organically.
Before I get to some other questions, I like that picture in the background. Who did that work? I think it's a great job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So actually, one of our friends framed this for us.
Yeah, she stalked our page, found this picture, and got it framed for us.
Yeah. So this was actually, of course, our wedding day.
Yeah.
And yeah, we love this picture. It's a great reminder of the joy we felt that day. And yeah.
And that's what I love about this show, is the storytelling part of it, and then how you guys met and found each other was through comedy. And for those people that are watching this show live stream or on audio, what advice would you give to them if they're looking to get into the comedy industry?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
I would first discover why. You know, your why is very important. A lot of times people want to do things for different reasons, but why you want to do something is gonna matter. You know, and we are also actors as well. And so when people tell me they want to be an actor, that's my first question is why. Because a lot of times some people want fame, you know, and that's not strong enough to keep you going in these fields. So one, discover your why. Two, start attending more shows. There's national headliners and also local headliners performing weekly at different comedy clubs. Start attending more comedy shows, just watching, seeing how they flow. Watch more comedy online.
Oh yeah, every day make something comedic. Get it in your spirit, in your belly. You know, if you don't write every day. If you don't write, be around comedy in some kind of way, and go to the open mics.
Yes.
Like, and you don't have to feel like you have to go up there every time you go, but just go to see it, and then when you're ready, go up there and do what you got to do.
Yep. Hit the open mic scene as well. Join a class. You know, there's Mark Ridley's does a class. There's some few other resources for classes. I can't think of them all right now, but
I took both for Mark Ridley's class. They got beginning and advanced.
Ann Arbor Showcase in Ann Arbor, they do a class. Most comedy clubs do some type of class, and I want to say the Actors Loft does a class for comedy, I believe. But there's different classes. There's online workshops, even if it's not in the Metro Detroit area. There's online workshops you can take. And through that, they'll teach you how to build your set. They'll teach you how to write jokes, the format of jokes. And then once you get down, you have a 3 to 5 minute set. I will work on that.
Work on 3 minutes, then 5.
Mm-hmm. And then start going these open mics and performing. You know, realize that you need a level of tough skin. You gotta have tough skin if you're gonna be a comedian, because it's a rough road.
It's a lot of rejection and stuff, but don't be like me. I overthink. Just have fun. You know, I tend to overthink, and I notice that my performances where I'm overthinking not as good. But when I just go up there and have fun and don't care what people think, then it's a great performance. You know, so just have fun. Don't take it too serious. You know, if you like your day job, keep your day job. If you don't, then do like me and quit and just try to figure out life. Like,
yeah, so that'll be our advice for sure. And just don't stop. If you in it for the right reasons, you feel like it's what you're supposed to do not stop. I stopped for years, and I don't regret it, only because it brought me to this path and allowed me to meet Dani the way I did. Because if I would have kept going, I wouldn't have took no class 5 years in the game. You know, so the fact that God has positioned me in such a way to have it happen this way, then I feel great about it. But my advice to someone else would be not stop. You know, you're going to have a setback. You're going to have a set that doesn't go off well. You know, bombing is a part of comedy.
You're supposed to bomb.
Like, it just is.
If you feel like you never bombed, then you're not a real comedian.
Yeah.
Everybody has bombed.
You have off nights. It's like any player in history had an off game. Like, no matter how great they were, they had an off game. And they also had injuries where they couldn't play at all. You know, so it's like we all have those things. And as a comedian, you feel like it's not a part of the game, but it is. You're like, but they didn't laugh. You're like, okay, so how can you figure it out? Let's get back on the horse. Tape your sets if it's videotaping or audio taping. Take notes on what happened. Take notes on what worked, what didn't work. Re-rock it, reset it, and keep going.
Wanted to ask you both on this. What are your thoughts on improv? Do you feel people that are beginning into comedy should go into improv first, or do you feel open mics would be better to start out with?
If they can do both, that'll be great. Like, improv is really good for comedy because it helps you be on your, like, he's really good at comedy because he just thinks on his feet. He just go up there and he
ad-libbing.
Like, a lot of crowd work. Me, I'm set. I stick to my set, and I may do some crowd work or whatnot.
Yeah, it definitely, especially a lot of people deal with stage anxiety, social anxiety. You know, they know they're talented in their heart, but being in front of people, they could be frightened. So in an improv setting, it's not just you on stage. So starting off with that would be good, because now you have this group of people that you're performing with. You still got to think sharp on your toes, but you have a group of people to back you up and to have your back, and that can kind of weave you into doing just you on stage, because it's you and a mic when it's stand-up comedy. There's nobody else there
unless it's us.
Yeah,
unless we doing it together.
We do stand-up together, but it's still just us. You know, it's not
right.
Yeah,
I don't know what he's about to say. He don't know if you had to pull me out or if I got to pull him out. Or
and so we're working on having one voice, you know, and it's still just us. So yeah, improv is a great way to start. It helps build community, helps build confidence as well. And have confidence. Confidence comes from the knowing of where you're going. You know, it's not always where you at. You know, sometimes you can't be confident in what you have. You got to be confident where you're going. And that brings strength. You're like, well, I don't care what happens, I'm going to still get better. And that's where I found my confidence. It was in, I knew I wasn't going to stop. I knew I was locked in. I knew this was for me. So even if I fail, even if I fall, I'm going to get back up. And like, you can't stop me anymore. Like, that's where my confidence comes from. And then my ability, I know God gave me this gift. Like, I know I have this gift to share.
For a reason.
Yeah.
Right.
How much have you both evolved as comedians over the years? And are there a lot of husband-wife comedy duels right now in the industry?
I don't know. I know that there is this one comedy duo I've heard of in Michigan, but I've heard that there's not really that many right now.
Yeah, I don't hear of much. I've heard that there are more than we know about, but I know there's twins that do stand up. There's a few people like that, like brothers and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But actual husband and wife is rare. I would say it's rare. It does exist. I'm not saying we the only. It does
Because
exist,
we
but
haven't done no super research, but
yeah, it's rare for sure. As far as evolution goes, we've evolved tremendously. I'm very proud of Dani and her growth and her process. Like we just we had a show on Valentine's Day and she did 27 minutes
for the first time.
Wow.
Yeah, I've never done that ever.
On her own. So
yeah,
just seeing her confidence grow, her ability to she's starting to improv some and everything.
Yeah,
I'm very proud of her
Thank
growth.
You,
know, and really since we got married too, you know, I know what I bring to the table as far as an artist. And so I knew that she would get inspired by that and grow from that as well. Because I can lead in that way. And I'm extremely proud of her growth.
Thank you. And he did really good at our show too, like just adding more jokes and his improv. And then he had like this tagline called Sam Dazzle. It was from him playing with the crowd, asking them what their favorite grocery place was. And somebody was like, Sam Red Dazzle. Somebody was like, Sam's Club. So he put it together and made it Sam Dazzle. So at the end, everybody kept taking pictures. So say Sam Dazzle.
Yeah.
So that was fun.
Yeah, so we've grown. Yeah. We've grown tremendously. It's night and day. You know,
yeah, because I really sucked when I first started.
Mm-hmm.
I sent Mike Larry my set, and he never even replied to it. It was so bad. Yeah. He didn't say nothing.
Yeah. So it'll be 4 years for me in July. 4 years for her in November of this year. So we are the growth, and it came through consistency. Like we were consistently performing through the good, through the bad, staying consistent. That's been the biggest thing. That's the only way you can grow. Because if you're constantly up and down, like life is gonna give you times where you got to take breaks, you got to take moments off here and there. Mm-hmm. But as long as you're consistent for the most part, like out of a year, out of 6 months, out of 3 months, mm-hmm. are you doing it more than you're not? That should be your goal. Mm-hmm. That should be your key, and that's gonna bring you that consistency, and that's gonna bring you that elevation. You want to get better in your craft. Like as a creative, you gotta work on your craft.
And then like even as a comedy duo, we're getting a lot better with that too, because it's only been like a little bit over a year that we've been doing it together. Mm-hmm. We had an open mic, and so we would do it together at our open mic, like 20 minutes or whatever of talking to people. And so it kind of made us better at that too, because when we first started doing that, we were at where were we at? Pause. We was at New Way, and it was horrible. We were both about to just end our careers. Yeah. Like we just don't need to be comedians because it was bad.
It was so bad.
And the comedians were like rooting us on, like, we think you guys have something. Keep trying, because it's harder to do comedy with a person. You don't know what they're gonna say, and then we're like trying to stay in it was hard and it was bad.
Yeah, but we didn't stop.
And we got booked not too long ago by this lady, paid us some good money, and we were up there for 25 minutes, and they were cracking up the whole time. So we went from that to people actually laughing at us.
Yeah, getting money, getting paid for it. We're producing our own shows that work.
Awesome.
Yeah, so it's a beautiful thing.
Awesome. For those people who are just watching our show now and never have seen the LuvLees perform, how would you describe your comedy style?
So we're clean comedians. Mm-hmm. We do relish ourselves in that. I would say style-wise, people always ask me that, and I'm not sure how to answer. I'm very, me personally, I'm very relatable as far as like life stories. You know, I talk about myself, but I talk about it in a way that, you know, people are going to relate in some way, whether if it's yourself or it's your dad or your uncle, like you're going to see me through you somehow, some way, you know?
Yeah. And for me, I pretty much talk about my height, myself, maybe relationships, try to encourage people regarding relationships. I've been in a lot of horrible relationships until I got with this one. So I'll talk about that. And and like when we're together, we talk about our marriage and stuff.
We talk about marriage a lot. And people relate to that even if they're single or married, you know, because like our whole brand is choose love. And so, you know, love is a choice. You have to continually choose love daily. you know, and you really can't choose who you fall in love with. But once you do, you have to choose love. And we talk about that. So it's like, well, if you're single, you're going to hear that. You're like, okay, it's kind of not up to me who my soulmate is, in a way. Like, it is, but it's not, because you're going to get what you need, you know, if you really look for it,
If you
or
choose.
don't.
Right.
If you choose.
If you choose.
If you choose, because you can have the choice to say, oh man, I'm gonna let this go, you know, and you got to take a chance on love. You got to choose love. Like, it has to be an intentional choice. I'm gonna love you. People think it's a feeling.
No, it's
and
not
it's
a feeling.
not.
You gotta choose it every day.
It's an action. Love is an action word, you know, and that's what we talk about. So you're gonna find ways to relate. If it's loving yourself, loving others, or loving your spouse or your partner, you're gonna relate to our comedy in that way.
Just like you guys are a comedy team, marriage is like a team as well, and both people have to be willing to put into work. You can't just have one person do all the work and the other one doesn't. So you guys have a lot of experience as a marriage couple into the comedy industry as well. And I wanted to ask you both this, Malachi and Dani, how important is branding yourselves and marketing yourselves as comedians and as a comedy duo?
Oh, that's a great question.
It's very important, and we need to do better at it. Like, sometimes you just don't feel like it.
Yeah. It's so important. Like, it's gonna bring you the success you want. You know, we have because now we're doing our own shows, we produce our own shows. We had an open mic that we did for almost a month, but now we're buying the venue, you know, renting out the venue, I should say, and selling the tickets, making the promotional flyers. Like, so just constantly, we keep these little cards on us every time we have a show coming up, and anytime we're in public and we see people that could be possibly a customer, we're constantly promoting. We have our social media on there. We have our phone number on there. So we're constantly in people's faces to sell the tickets. And what you realize is you can pass out 250 flyers
and get no response.
Yeah, you know, but that's the work. And even if you just got, you know, 10 people to follow you from that, like, that's the work. That's the work of a promoter, of a producer. You know, we're not just comedians anymore, but it's taught us the game even more. And it has grown us. It has grown our platform to be more aware and take more control of our careers, because you can sit around and wait on someone to give you an opportunity, or you can make the opportunities that you want to happen.
And then also maturing us as marketers, because sometimes you can go to your family and your friends and you expect them to support you, and they don't. And some of them don't. Sometimes we have received support from some of our family, but a lot of times, sometimes they don't. And so it's like I have to create a new audience and not get on my family and friends' nerves and move on to something else. And then you find that this audience, like the last show we had, some of them love you. They're like, oh, when is the next show? We want to come. And so you just keep creating this audience.
Yeah. And a lot of those people weren't people that we organically knew. We just knew them from being out, like performing at different places. They see you perform here, and it's something about you, they gravitated towards you. And now they following you. Now where are you gonna be? I'm gonna come and watch you because I like what you do. And that way you don't have to force anybody, because people are gonna do what they want to do.
They are.
You know, even if while we're out promoting, if the spirit isn't right, we'll move on. Like, sometimes we even ask, hey, do you like comedy?
They're like, no, I don't like laughing. You're like, okay.
We moving on. You know,
have a good day.
You gotta find your market. You know, a lot of times people try to force, even like she said, even in your family, you can't force it on your family. Hey, you can send out the text. If they want to come, they're gonna come. You know, and it can hurt, but you got to move on, because
it does.
It does hurt, you know.
Especially the ones when they say, "Oh, I'm coming." Like, and you looking for them, and they're not.
But you got to focus on who is for you, because there is an audience that's gonna be there, that's gonna be there on time and ready to laugh, just like it was, you know. And branding when you're out in public is important. Just the shows we go to and perform at, you know, the open mics we do. You know, we have to realize that we are a brand. Like, every time we go out, we're a brand. Every time we're anywhere in public, you know, just being more aware of our appearance, making sure we're taking care of ourselves, taking care of our bodies. Because if we don't look presentable, you know, when we hand somebody a car, why would they want to buy into us?
Right.
You know.
Yeah, it's very important. And
professionalism too. Yeah.
100%. 100%.
even though we're in different careers, I can relate to you guys because, like I said, I've had people I thought would support me haven't, and I've had a lot of people who I never thought would give me a chance support me. So mindset is huge, and also passion. Passion. If you don't have a passion for what you're doing, then it's probably time to move on.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. I agree. And that goes back to, why you're in it. Why are you doing what you're doing? Because passion is what's gonna keep you going when it hurts. When it's not going right, when you don't really feel like doing it, passion is what's gonna push you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to put you both on the spot here, Malachi and Dani. What makes Detroit in the state of Michigan such a great area for comedy? And do you guys have plans to go outside of Detroit and Michigan in the future as well?
I think that what makes it so great for comedy are all of the comedy clubs that we have. We have Mark Ridley's, we have Detroit House of Comedy, we have One Mic, we have Ann Arbor Showcase. We have so many to choose from. So like if
They
you
just
really
opened a new one downtown.
Oh, they just opened a new one.
Comedy bar, yeah.
Yeah, so like if you really want comedy, you can get comedy.
Yeah.
And then we have all the open mics. Like it's so many of those out there too. It's not hard to find it if you're looking for it.
100%. And for me, it's how hard it is.
Oh yeah.
It builds you as an artist. The comedy in Detroit is one of the toughest.
They are
Detroit's
brutal.
It's one of the toughest places.
Punchline. I forgot to mention Punchline.
Really? Wow.
Black-owned comedy club. They're only like one of 10 black-owned comedy clubs in the country in Detroit. So
I was afraid of Punchline when I first started comedy. I didn't want to go to Punchline.
It's tough, but Detroit is one of the hardest places because mainly our people in particular, because you have to, they're not giving you anything. You have to make them.
You have to earn it.
You have to earn it. Some audiences are different where they're kind of open and already ready to laugh.
Ready to laugh. But some people are just not there to laugh, and they're just looking at you like, you better make me laugh. And even if you don't, it's really not your fault. It's because they don't want to laugh.
Yeah, they're not open. So you have to warm them up, open them up, and
talk about them like a dog.
Yeah, and get them to laugh.
So if you're not to talk about like a dogger, which I'm not,
then
that's hard. So I had to learn how to talk about people. Like I don't talk about people.
Roasting.
But you have to figure that out so you can earn their trust. You have to put them down to earn their trust, and then they'll laugh at you.
It's weird,
so stupid.
People deal with so much
traumatic
trauma, in their day and everything. So you go to a comedy club, you
have to do all of that.
However you got there, you having a rough day, and you just like, man, ain't nothing gonna be funny in here, So you can see those spirits on people, but it makes you stronger. Like I grew myself going to that. Like she didn't like Punchline when I first discovered how hard Punchline was. I was there every Monday.
Yeah.
Because I wanted that. I wanted to figure it out. I wanted to find it out. And it grew me. It grew me.
Then I started going, and then it grew me too. Yeah. After I got past all of the craziness,
it's the fire.
It grew me, and I was like, okay. And then we went to Ann Arbor Showcase last Wednesday. We only had 5 minutes. I barely was up there, and people were on the floor laughing at stuff that the Punchline people would have been looking at me like. So it threw me off because they were laughing so hard. I looked around like, oh, I forgot I was up here for laughs. Yeah, it was different.
I wanted to ask you guys this. I wanted to ask you this too. I guess I've talked to other comedians from Canada and the States too, and they say every place, every club you go to, every city you go to, or state or province, you have to do your homework because every area, what you use in one city or one club might not work somewhere else.
That is 100% true.
Different audiences. When the guy said wrong audience or something?
Yeah. I was bringing up God in my set, and he was like wrong crowd.
Wrong crowd. But then when I went up there, the guy had to go to the bathroom. And I said something about God. And I was like, oh, he's not here. Well, hallelujah. I'm going to start talking about Jesus. And everybody started cracking up. So it kind of worked for us anyway.
Yeah, but every area is different. Even city to city is different. You can do comedy in downtown Detroit, in Southfield, in Grosse Pointe. Like city to city is different. And so definitely state to state is different. So you want to read the room. do research of the place, but read the room as you go in.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because you want to kind of not change yourself, but tailor it. You know, this club may need a different season. This room may need a different seasoning than a different place. And you know, difference between white and black rooms. You know, not to make it a race thing, but it is. It's a big difference. You know, black rooms are harder.
Yeah, well, yeah, depending on
it depends on who you are.
Depending on who you are, depending on the joke you do. Like whenever I talk about Trump, black rooms laugh, white rooms some laugh and some don't.
So it's like, you know, everybody's different. Everybody receives different. So definitely state to state. We've done. We've been in Atlanta. We've been to Columbus, Ohio. Yeah, those are the few places we've been. I personally been to LA before. Different vibe out there than here. And we plan to hit different places this year. So
yeah, it seemed like out of town treats you better than in, like, no matter what joke you do, if you did it anywhere, they would crack up at it. Because even though with politics, people don't agree, funny is funny either way. And so no matter where I would go, you know, they would laugh. Like whenever we go out of town, whatever joke I pull out, they laughing at it. But here you can't just, you got to be careful what jokes you pull out.
Yeah.
Some of these clubs, do they make you sign an agreement what you guys can say and what you can't say? Or do they let the comedians have the freedom of what they want to use?
I never experienced that. Well, certain types of shows, I wouldn't say clubs, but if it's like a clean show,
they'll tell you don't cuss, don't say nothing crazy. Like
church shows, they'll do that. For the most part, you should know, but some church shows are very strict. Like, hey, make sure you're not talking about none of these things.
And we do that too when we produce our shows because we're clean. So whoever's on our show has to be clean.
Yeah. So I have heard of that though. I've heard of people saying, yeah, they told me not to talk about politics or stuff like that. Like I know it's out there, but we just haven't experienced that as much.
I wanted to ask. Go ahead, Danny. Sorry, Danny. Go ahead.
You just don't talk about certain things. Like you won't talk about politics. You won't talk about religion. You won't talk about, you know, certain things. You just won't. You just know, or they may give you rules.
Do you guys have a ritual before each live performance? And on general, how long does it take for you to engage an audience mood? And do you guys prefer to open up a show, be the middle, or do you guys like to be the closing part of a show?
Oh, great questions. Yeah. Great questions, Chris.
So before we perform, we usually pray together.
Yeah, we usually pray together, yeah. When we are going places, we pray just to cover ourselves spiritually, make sure we're in the right mindset. And then on my own, myself, there's a window of time right before I perform where I get myself in the mindset. I kind of, because there's nerves that you're battling. You know, you got a show tonight. You know, say for instance, we had a show tonight. There's a certain amount of nervousness that you have throughout the day. You know, even up until hours before when you're on the way. Then when you get to the venue, there's certain nerves that you got to deal with. But then like those moments right before, if I know I'm next or if I know the show started and I'll know I'll be performing soon, there is like something I do. I really can't explain it, but it's almost like I tell myself it's no going back. There's no need to be nervous. Let's do this. And I put myself in a certain energy, a certain mindset, a certain pocket. And I know if I'm in this pocket, I'm going to do well. And it's almost like I black out and I don't care anymore. And now I'm not concerned about how it's going to come out. I'm not concerned about what I'm going to say. I'm just ready. And once I'm in that mode, that's when I know it's going to be a good show. Now, if I'm thinking too much of make sure I hit my jokes right and hit this and that, I don't do so well. But if once I black out and I grab that mic and I got that smile on my face, you know it's about to be something good.
Yeah, for me, I make sure I look at my jokes before I go. Even though I've done these jokes millions of times, I make sure I look at it and then I just say, Jesus, Holy Spirit, activate in me. Help me to make these people laugh. And then I just go and do what I got to do. Like I say a quick prayer and then just do the best that I can do and leave it there. Yeah. Call it a day.
And I'm big on energy. I have to have my blood pumping. So if I'm not gonna sit down.
Oh yeah, a lot of times I do jump.
Yeah,
do a lot.
So I'm jumping around. I'm getting my blood moving, so my energy can be at a certain level. That's essential for me.
I got that from him. Like I remember one time we was at Punchline, and he was like, "It's your turn. What are you doing? Get up!" I was like, "Oh." It wasn't my turn yet, but he was like, your turn is coming up. You need to go over there and get ready. I was like, oh, okay. And I went to the corner like.
Don't want to be stale. Yeah, don't want to be stale. Now, as far as where do you want to be in the show? What would you say?
Well, whenever
host, feature, headliner.
For me, I'm more so of a host and a feature, which is the host, keep the show going. The feature may do 10 to 15 minutes. The headliner does like 30, 40 minutes. Like I said, I headlined for the first time on our show and it felt good, but I would more so want to be like stay in the hosting pocket because I like to keep the show going. I like to keep the energy flowing. I like to see where the audience is and just make people look good and be funny in the beginning and get it over with and then just have fun.
Yeah.
For me, that's how I like doing it.
It's interesting. I love all three, headline, feature, host. I recently been headlining more, closing shows out. So it's hard for me to answer, honestly, because each have their perks. Like she said, the host, you keep it moving. You're the spark of the whole show. But that feature,
the feature is preparing the table for the headline.
Yeah.
Because like when I featured, I had to do host and feature for him in one of our shows. And that was so scary and hard because I had to host and then I had to kind of transition to telling my jokes to be a feature so I can set the atmosphere for the headliner to come out and be funny. And so those are very important jobs.
Yeah. But I would say headliner, I think, because you have more space to do and be. As a host, the host kind of gets the least amount of time, although you see them the most. Host, you definitely can't do too much. You can't be up there for 20 minutes at the top, and you can't do a lot of time in between. With the feature, you have your set 15 to 20 minutes, so you have enough time to kind of stretch out and do your thing. But with the headliner spot, you almost got free reign. You can just open up. You can get all your jokes out in a full manner. You don't have to rush yourself. As long as you pace and time yourself out, you can stretch out. And I do love that part.
Yeah, you can like just weave into the jokes and whatnot.
You got time to go into the crowd and do crowd work and improv. But as a feature, you got a little bit of playroom like that. But it just goes down.
I like how we did our show last time, though. Our last show, what we did was we came out as our characters. We have like different characters that we play. I play Dr. Luv. She's a psychiatrist who really gives out horrible advice. And he plays Uncle Rhett. And he can't fix nothing, but he acts like he can fix everything. He has like the cigarette hanging out. So our first 10 minutes, we came out as our characters. And that was so much fun. And then we had somebody come out and do like 10 minutes. And then I did the 30 minutes and then he did 30 minutes. And but our plan was for me to do like 20, because I usually don't do 30 minutes. Me do like 15 minutes and then he do his and then we come out together. But
what is more difficult for you to perform in front of? Is it a big audience or do you find smaller audience can be more difficult to perform in front of?
Great questions.
I like smaller audiences. I don't know why, but I do because it feels more intimate as long as they're with me. If they're not with me, then no. But I do like smaller. But in that same token, you have the bigger audiences. I like smaller, but I would rather have a bigger audience because you make more money from a bigger audience.
but preference.
But preference, I feel like I'm having an intimate conversation with my friends when it's a smaller audience.
Good answer. Yeah, they both have their perks and also their cons, pros and cons to both. Because if you do bad in a big audience, you really gonna feel it.
Right? Ain't nobody laughing.
Yeah,
it's a 500 people in here, not one person laughing.
Come on.
That's true.
And the bigger, go ahead.
The small too, like
with the small.
Remember we had that family reunion show that they hired us for.
Yeah.
That audience usually is not the audience fault. Usually it's the comedian's fault. We got to figure out a way to make people laugh. But this time I give it to the audience because they had kids running around on the stage. It was horrible. Yeah. And we had to focus and try to be funny. And the audience was looking at us crazy. Man. And they weren't saved. And the ladies came and told us that it was a clean comedy show with the Lord. And we talking about Jesus. And then they don't like it. We didn't know. But you told us that you were, so we. Yeah. It was horrible.
Yeah, so it's like with a big audience, you can do good, but you have to do really good to feel the energy because you can have a lot of people laughing, but it's such a big room that you gotta
You
have
don't hear
all
it.
of them laughing to really feel it. And people will tell you, "Hey, you did good," but you didn't feel it like you thought you did. Small rooms, same way. If you do bad, you definitely gonna feel it because it's only 10, 15, 20 people in here. If you do good, they right there on you and they love you. But I would say big rooms. I prefer big rooms. I prefer big audiences. Um, I love the stage. I love being on the stage. Like the Charleston Comedy, one of my favorite places to perform because it's so big. It's that theater setup style, and you go on the stage and you can walk down the stage. It's so big. You can see, you can scan the audience. It's so big. You can only see the first two rows. I like the mystery of
Who's out there?
Yeah, who's out there? Versus knowing and seeing everybody's face in a small crowd. But pros and cons of both. My vote is big.
But I'm an introvert too, so that's probably why I picked small audience. It's too many people.
During your live performances, do you guys get the audience to participate physically with you guys? And thoughts on slapstick comedy? And do you guys ever find there's still a need for slapstick comedy?
What is slapstick?
What is? Oh, wait, I feel stupid.
Is that like
it's comedy? I guess it's like comedy with physical in it, like physical type of comedy, like Saturday Night Live or like the Three Stooges, Laurel and Hardy, all these guys, the classics.
Oh yeah, I have physical comedy jokes, jokes where I get my body involved, my face is involved, and I love it. Like I'm an actor as well. I've been an actor first, and so I love those jokes when I'm about to act it out or show you what it actually is that I'm talking about. So it's definitely necessary. It keeps the crowd engaged. It allows you a chance to engage and interact with them in a different way because they're connecting with the physicality of it. Not only am I telling you what I'm showing you, like this is what I mean, bam, bam, bam. So I love that.
Yeah, I like to act out.
And what's the other question?
Do you involve people? And he has like this chant that throws people off. It's very racist. Yeah. But and I hate it, but everybody else loves it. So
yeah. So I do have that, and
I'm cringing every time you do it. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, and I do have times where I am involved in the audience as far as asking them questions. Getting them involved in different ways.
How long you been married?
Yeah.
Make some noise if you broke.
Said, Yeah, getting them to make noise on certain things, and also. Going back to the questions, I have a grocery store joke. And so I started out by asking, how many guys grocery shop. And so if a guy looks a certain way, looks like he does grocery shop or doesn't, I'll tag that up, And that's how I, like she said, discovered the Sam Razzle tag because I'm getting feedback from the audience and I'm using it real time so that we all are involved because we all saw this joke, come about. Like, although it's my written joke, I'm finding ways to tag it up in front of everybody. So I do love interacting. It brings the people together more. They are more invested when you directly involved.
You're having a direct conversation with them. I like it. I just I don't do it as much. I usually stick to my set, but I'm learning to bring people in because you want people to trust you before you start getting into your set. So like I started changing my set to where I talk about how I've had a bad week. So I ask people how they doing. Then I talk about my bad week, about how my therapist quit on me, and that's how I get into my set.
Speaking of therapy, it's I interview musicians and comedians, and really comedy musician is a therapy, and it can really get you through tough times. And with what's going on in the world right now, without getting into politics, I think there's more demand for comedians and musicians than ever before.
100%. It's so needed. We all deal with adversity. We all deal with tragedy, and you never know what somebody's dealing with. And that's a part of the huge reason why I do what I do, not only for myself, but to serve others through laughter. Even one of my first experiences I had, I think the second or third time I was on the stage, although I bombed, me and the DJ had a roast battle back and forth, and I came back inside the venue. And one of the guys had just got out of jail, and he was saying, like, man, I just got out of jail. I needed this laugh. Like, you don't know what you did to me to help me, And so looking back, that was a pivotal moment for me, but I didn't take advantage of what I actually had. I stopped, because in my head I bombed. I didn't do as good as I thought. And that's when I stopped for years. But it's so important to make people smile, make people laugh.
Yeah, I did this joke about my brother. I deal with depression because I lost my brother. It's about to be 2 years, but he lived with me
I'm
for
sorry.
years. Thank you. He was my best friend, and I finally wrote a joke about him and about depression. And I said something about people say you get over it in time, like in the like as you know, you kind of do a setup and then you get to the punchline. And this lady yelled out, "That's not true," or whatever, and it was like I can tell that I was touching her heart, and I was like, "You right, it's not. You do not get over it. You just stuck." And like people really appreciated it, and few people called me like I'm proud of you for incorporating that joke. I know that had to be hard, and it was funny. So it was like I found a way to make trauma funny, and so that kind of felt good because I know I'm not the only person who's lost someone important.
How satisfying is it when people come up and say thank you for making me laugh, or thank you for giving me a couple hours of a distraction from our busy lives?
Oh man, it's so satisfying because that's the biggest reason why I do this for the people.
Mm-hmm.
And so when people show gratitude for my gift, if it's fulfilling, because it's like, okay, I'm doing this for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel satisfied. It brings me fulfillment that I could give you fulfillment, that I can give you this in your life. And it helps me with the things that I'm dealing with and going through. And it just pushes us all, like we all are healing now in this room. And laughter, they say laughter is as good as medicine. So it's like you giving somebody a portion of clean medicine that's actually gonna help them. It's nothing better.
Mm-hmm.
Man. Nothing better.
Nothing better.
Are you guys still good for a few more minutes and a couple more questions?
Sure.
Okay. Gotta ask you, Malachi and Dani, who were some of your comedy influences and mentors when you first were starting out?
When I first, well, of course, Mike Larry, he gave us the platform to do the show. Like every Thursday, we had a show. Like that's unheard of to start off as a comedian and have a show every Thursday.
Yeah.
And just be able to just go up there as an open micer and host as a new comedian. So I'm really grateful for him. There was this dude Josiah in the beginning. He hired me for a few things for clean comedy because he does Christian comedy or whatnot. So he kind of helped me in the very beginning, and then there was Blackberry. He would call me and be like, "Hey, you're very smart. You're very funny. You just need to be confident because you have it. Don't act like you have it. You act like you don't have it, but you do have it." Billy Hill, he encouraged me. Just those local people. T Barb, she was hiring me for stuff left and right, even though I didn't find my funny yet. She encouraged me. In fact, we got a show with her tonight. But people that I don't know, I love me some Dave Chappelle, and people may call me crazy, but I love Bill Cosby in spite of what I don't know his personal, but I love his comedian career. He's always been my favorite comedian. Um, yeah, I think that's.
God.
And I love Wanda. I love Godfrey, and I love Wanda Sykes. Yeah, so.
Yeah. In the Detroit scene, definitely Mike Larry. I have to give a lot of what he did. Salute him for a lot of that. His influence and everything. It's a veteran comic named Josh Adams from Detroit. I'm very inspired by his ability to improv, and I took some of that ability in my arsenal. Jay Will, another veteran that influenced me through his, just confidence, his swag on stage. I had bombed at a show one time, like before I got back into it. This had to be like 2019, maybe something like that. I don't know. And he was the headliner at the show. It was an open mic. He headlined it, but they put him on. After they put him on, they put me up. And I heard him on the radio. That's how I knew him. And I was like, man, this guy's hilarious. And then he did like 20, 30 minutes, whatever it was. And they kept the open mic portion going after that. And I was the next comic up. I was like, oh, boy. He's a tough act to follow. And so I bombed. And I felt different. I didn't feel bad about it. And I'm just like, okay. immediately after I got off, he signaled for me to come over to him. He didn't know me from a can of paint, like, and he started giving me advice. He did not know me at all, and
Wow.
yeah, and so then as I got back into the game, being on different shows with him and performing with him was
Didn't y'all
just
have an open mic together?
yeah. We had open mic that we ran together, so just being able to go from a hero to a coworker and a colleague, that was a great thing. One of my favorite comics is Tony Baker. He's from Chicago. We got a chance to open up for him last year or 2 years ago.
2 years ago, yeah.
Yeah.
Guest spot.
Yeah, that was great. And so yeah, Tony Baker is hilarious. He's one of my favorites.
He's a great person.
He's a great person. Yeah. Of course you got Eddie Murphy, Chris Rock, Dave Chappelle. Just so many different greats that have.
We met Tiffany Haddish on Tuesday.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago. Yeah, and or last week. Yeah. So
yeah, it was last week. Yeah.
So yeah, that's where it's at, and just seeing how they do it. You watch it, and it's like, wow, Mike Epps, one of my favorites too. Seeing how they do it. I was like,
they just do it so effortlessly.
Man.
Like, wow.
Man, even when you can see a joke coming, like Dave Chappelle, he's telling you where he's coming from, and he's still gonna hit you unexpectedly. So,
what were your thoughts on the 50th year celebration of Saturday Night Live? If you saw that, and do you guys have any memorable performances on Saturday Night Live over the years?
We didn't see it.
Yeah, I think was Dave Chappelle in that one.
I'm not sure. I know Tom Hanks was in there, Chevy Chase, Martin Short. I think a majority of them showed up, but I was just going to say, it started in 1975 when I was 3 years old, and it's gone for 50 years.
Wow, that's a long time.
I love Eddie Murphy because we almost shared the same birthday. I think his birthday is April the 3rd, mine is April the 4th. And I think he's just one of the funniest people. So I'm sure.
Yeah, I like what's the name? Keenan, not Keenan Peele. I forgot his name, but he's a constant.
Kel.
Yeah, Keenan
and Kel.
Yeah, I think it's
one
Keenan.
of them. Yeah,
Keenan. He's on there when he does those Black Jeopardy ones. I think those are hilarious.
Yes.
Yeah, so he's one of my favorites on there. Those skits that Dave Chappelle is involved in, those are always hilarious. Leslie Jones is hilarious when she's on there.
Hilarious.
And then that one guy, I don't know his name, but he's always on there. He does the newscaster ones. He's funny on there too.
Yeah, I forget her name. She played on Bridesmaids. I love her.
I know he's talking about. I know the face.
She cracks me up with her faces that she make and stuff. She's my favorite, but I forgot her name.
Yeah. So we got to check out that 50th episode. That'd be a watch.
Yeah, for me it was Eddie Murphy, Chevy Chase, Dan Aykroyd, Mike Myers, and a lot of everybody.
I love Mike Myers.
And he's Canadian. He's from
yesterday.
And he's from Toronto. And people think obviously hockey, beer, donuts, but we have a lot of great comedy clubs here and a lot of great comedians. And hopefully one day you guys will be able to perform over here.
Yes.
Yeah, we came once actually. We went to Canada one time.
Yeah, was it the Unclub? I think. No, not the Unclub.
No,
it was a different place. Josiah Jones had got us out there.
I forgot the name of it.
But yeah, we definitely should do that.
I don't know.
Different open mics and stuff. We know a few comics.
Yeah, we have our passports.
Yeah, so we should definitely do that soon. That'd be fun.
And the next time I get up to Michigan to visit my cousins in Taylor, I'll have to let you guys know because I'd like to meet you guys and also Cameron Kay. Cameron Kay's been on my show 3 times and she's really talented as well. And I think she performs at the Punchline too.
Yes.
Yeah, she put us on her show at the Punchline. She headlined at the Punchline and put us as a feature on her show, which was really nice of her because it was a full house too.
Yeah, she's a great comic. She is a fantastic comedian. I am very proud of seeing how far she's come in a year.
1 year, like I was not doing that 1 year.
Headlining and everything.
I wasn't funny.
And what I wanted to bring up too is connections and networking are huge in what I'm doing, but I'm sure in the comedy industry as well, having connections and networking too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I love what you're doing, putting people together.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Love
I
the
love doing
show.
it. Thank you. And doing security for 23 and a half years, I had to deal with all walks of life in my job. And I think it's kind of prepared me for this. And I just love storytelling and listening to my guest story. And it's about my guests. And I just love having this platform. And I'm just got to keep working hard at it and keep learning and keep improving. And this question is for Dani. Dani, how did you come about writing your own book? Congratulations, called
Thank you.
Love Hates Me. You're welcome. And what was the process like writing your book and publishing? And how can people purchase your book online?
Well, I started the book. It was from it was a book to dedicate to my sister. Um Sister, her name was Ivy Ridgeway, and she unfortunately her life was taken by my mother's boyfriend at the time. I was 6 and she was 4. And so I wrote the book because I wanted people to understand childhood trauma, child abuse, and neglect. I used to be a CPS worker. I was CPS worker for 6 years. So I wanted people to understand that, and then also understand generational issues that can be created in a person's body, because the body does keep the score. There's a book called The Body Keeps the Score, about different issues that you can have, and you grow up and still have those subconscious issues. So the book was pretty much a novel, but based on true events. And at the end of the book, there are self-help guides to overcoming trauma, overcoming grief, and stuff like that. So I wrote it because I want to help people to heal. That was the whole purpose of writing it, and to honor my sister Ivy. I did self-publish, and I did have a website, but I'm struggling with that website right now. But if you want me to mail you out a book, you can inbox me on our Instagram, or you can inbox me on my Instagram, which is comedian Dani Luv as well. And the books are $25. You can cash at me. I'll send you the cash app. I also have Zelle. I'll send you my phone number for Zelle, and I can send you the book to your address.
And I do this with all my guests as we show. And I want to say thank you to both of you for coming on today and giving me extra time. I really appreciate it. And I'm going to put you on the spot here. What are some fun facts or a fun fact about the LuvLees?
Our name.
I'm about to say that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we call ourselves the LuvLees. My full name is Malachi Lee Anderson.
And my full name is Danielle Lee Anderson. Before it was Ridgeway, but Danielle Lee Anderson.
Yeah.
So we have the same middle name.
Yep. So Lee is actually both of our legal middle name. So people thought we were already married because her Facebook was Dani Lee, mine was Malachi Lee. Malachi Lee is my stage name. And so people always thought that. And my mother, our mother came up with the LuvLees. And this was before she knew both our middle names was Lee. So it's like, it's a play on lovely.
She was like, Malachi's middle name is Lee. I was like, oh, that's my middle name too. She's like, what?
Yeah. So it was amazing. It's amazing. Yeah, that's real. So that's one fact about us. Another fun fact is both our birthdays are in April. April 4th and April 29th. And this, like, these fun facts is what was like a part of our story.
Yeah. His mom went to my high school. I went to McKenzie. She went to McKenzie. My nephew's birthday is December 21st. His sister's birthday is December 21st. And
I do I'm an actor and comedian, but I also do mascot gigs. So
cool. That's awesome.
Yeah, that is. So that's something I don't really share with people. That's definitely a fun fact.
And I was a handler for the first time after being with him.
So here's a fun fact about me. I've had a guest on my show about a year ago who's a well-known mascot, and he plays the Philly Fanatic. I actually had the Philly Fanatic, the legendary Philadelphia Phillies mascot, on my show, and it was just amazing having him on.
That's amazing.
So cool.
Oh, wow.
And people don't realize. Thank you. And people don't realize there's so much work into being a mascot.
It's a lot of work, and they got to take off the hat
as well.
You're cool and everything. It's a lot of work being a handler too, because if something happened to them, they're looking at the handler like, "Hey, what did you do?"
And finally, where can my audience follow you on social media? Any plans for a future website and your T-shirts? How can people purchase your T-shirts as well?
Yes, we do have a Square online website. I believe it's still up and running, where they can purchase our things. The link is in our Instagram bio. You go on that, and that will connect you to everything. But mainly our DM. If you don't want to go through that, you DM us. Let us know what you want, what products you want. Even if you want to book us, that is our way of connection. We also have a so LuvLees on YouTube. You got the YouTube up at Love_Lees. We got our Instagram. We also have a Facebook, the LuvLees. Yep, you got all of that. Okay.
And we also have a email.
Oh, yeah, and our email. Yep, the LuvLees production at gmail.com.
And we also have a phone number, a business phone number.
Yep, 616-288-4932. You can reach us that way.
And when is your next podcast episode coming out? Is this the Real Love podcast, the next one coming out? And there was something else I was going to ask you too. Oh yeah, if you'd like to promote your next upcoming live show in Michigan or in Detroit, that would be great too.
Yes. Next episode, we kind of took a little break. We had some things we were going through, but we're going to come back on this Sunday. We need to.
And we want to do it. We'll probably do it Sunday at 9.
Yep, Sunday night. So
yeah, because we've had rehearsal. We got rehearsal on Sunday. We've been having a lot of stuff going on, so we're like, we have to be like
our schedule change
and be consistent.
Yeah. So that'll be.
Go ahead.
Yeah, we'll come Sunday at 9. That'll be our new start time and getting back into it. We were doing it every other week, and so we have a play coming up in May. And we don't have full details for that, but we've been rehearsing on Sundays, which was usually the time we were doing our podcast. So that changed.
It kind of threw us off. Yeah.
Yep. And as far as shows go, we are thinking about doing a show at the end of March. We thinking that's where we'll be. We were at the Raw Space on Valentine's Day. That show went well, so we're more than likely going to be there again. We will be solidifying details within the next day or two, and moving forward.
And we'll be posting that on our page immediately as soon as we find out.
As soon as we get it, we'll be on it. So, yep, you can definitely keep in touch with us that way.
And your podcast is available on. Is it similar to mine, being live streamed, or is it just audio?
Yeah, it's live stream. It's through StreamYard. So we're on YouTube. We're on Facebook, and that's it. YouTube, Facebook, and then sometimes we'll put it on our Instagram.
Yeah, but we're gonna get like you on multiple platforms.
We're taking notes.
you on all the audio. I love it. We're working towards that this year. So thanks for this.
No problem. And I wear 8 different hats, but you know what? It's great because I might not be the best at everything, but to get into radio and media, you need to know all aspects. Just like comedy or any career, it's good to be diversified and learn a little bit of everything as well.
100%. 100%.
That's so true.
Yeah.
And before we wrap this up, do you have a quick question for the host?
What got you into this? Because I see your passion. I see your passion for the people and for media. What sparked you into getting this?
I was doing some volunteer work with a semi-pro basketball team 5 years ago, 5.5 years ago, and they needed a camera operator. And I'm like, I'll volunteer for it. But I said, I don't know anything about camera work. So they showed me what I needed to do. At the end of the basketball game, they're like, we like your work. And they ended up paying me for it. And then it led to me doing some volunteer work with a local cable company. And then during the pandemic, I decided I was going to start up a podcast talk show. And I found my passion at 47.5 years.
Wow, that's so cool.
Old through volunteer. Yes. So I was just in the right place at the right time. And I finally found what I wanted to do. I might be a late starter, but the volunteer work sometimes can lead to other opportunities as well.
100%.
That's beautiful.
100%. Great story.
Wow.
That's a great story.
It's never too late.
It's not. It's not. You're right on time.
Yeah.
You are right on time, Chris.
Age is just a number. That's how I look at it.
It is, because we definitely have an age gap. Maybe we'll talk about that the next time we come on the show.
So, now, no, you guys open to come on my show again, and maybe we'll get you to come on with Cameron Kay, because she's a very talented comedian as well. And I've had some Canadian comedians. I just like storytelling, the learning aspect, and connecting with people as well. And I want to say thank you so much for giving us over an hour of your time today, and continued success. And we'll definitely keep in touch with you on social media.
Thank you so much, Chris.
Continued success to you too.
And go Birds, go Birds, go Pistons, go Tigers, and Red Wings.
And go Lions.
And go Lions. And go Spartans.
Lions, Spartans, Michigan Wolverines. Go Blue, go Blue.
Go,
but hey,
go,
thank you so much.
All right.
And the next time, and the next time I can, and the next time I can come up to Detroit or Michigan, I will definitely let you guys know. And I would love to see you perform one day in person.
Sounds great. We're looking forward to it.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
You too.
You too.
You too. Thank you.
Bye.
All right, guys, that wraps up season 10. Episode 4 overall, 499 of Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show, brought to you by Barry Cullen Chevrolet Dealership and Wellington Brewery here in Guelph. And I want to say thank you to Dani Luv and Malachi. I think I have that right. Dani and Malachi for coming on here today. Before we wrap up this show, guys, I'm just going to play a little video clip from the LuvLees YouTube channel. So please check out the LuvLees YouTube channel and hit the subscribe. And I'm just going to play a little video clip, and hopefully you guys will hear the audio okay.
To someone super special in my life. This woman has been by my side in the best and worst times of my life. And it's a super surprise that I'm here today. And I'm grateful to have her in my life.
Yeah.
And I don't know what's going to happen in life. And with so much uncertainties, we don't know what tomorrow holds. And with all that uncertainty, I want to make something certain in my life and make you my wife. Yeah, what's your answer? You ain't have to get down either. We right here with it. What's your answer?
Your mom, I'm like, yeah, feeling so.
Yeah, I love my mom, but yeah.
Yes, yes.
You don't know how this works? Oh, your left hand, my butt. Yeah, there we go. Yeah. I love you.
Yeah.
You're a great child. Brand new Choose Love shirts, amen. So I chose Love, yeah. They got $30 now. Should have had them when you got the chance. Yes, indeed. So I love you, man. We got to get out of here. Thank everybody for coming. I don't even know what to say myself.
Love y'all. Hey, love.
Thank you. Special thanks to Smiley, man. He really put us together, literally, and has been with us every step of the way, man. Thank you. Right. Yeah, he got the jacket like he put something together too. We're gonna have you marry us right now, actually. Thank y'all, man. I appreciate you, man.
I love you too.
That clip was courtesy of the LuvLees YouTube channel. Please hit the subscribe and follow notification. And you can also follow them both, Michaeli, Michaeli and Dani on Facebook, the LuvLees, and you can follow them on Instagram as well. So check out their Instagram and Facebook pages, and please subscribe to their YouTube channel as well. All right, guys, as we wrap up the show, the next live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show, episode number 500. That's 500 episode, sponsored by Barry Collins Chevrolet and Wellington Brewery. I will be celebrating 500 episodes with my special guest. His name is Pat Gregor from Coolbet, Canada, National Lacrosse League analyst with the Halifax Thunderbird and with TSN's Game of the week. Pat Gregor is going to be on my record, and Pat's going to come on and talk to us about the National Lacrosse League and also about the National Football League as well, and maybe reminisce about some of my former guests that have been on my show. And I want to say thank you to everyone for watching and listening to this show for the last 5 years, and to thank you to Wellington Brewery and Barry Collins Chevrolet here in Guelph for sponsoring this show. And thank you to my wonderful guests. It's always about the guests. So I've been very lucky to have a lot of awesome guests over the years. So I hope you guys can tune into the 500th episode of Live with CDP Sports Entertainment Talk Show, Tuesday, February 25th at 12:30 with Pat Gregor. And I'm really looking forward to the 500 show as well. And also, guys, Wellington Brewery, check out their event on March 12th at 7 p.m. for a Lizards and Loggers interactive reptile show. This all ages event brings out some of the world's coolest reptiles right here at Wellington Brewery at 950 Woodlawn Road West here in Guelph, where you can enjoy some brews while getting to hold, pet, and learn about different species. What are you waiting for? Bring your kids, bring your family, get together, and come have some March break fun at Wellington Brewery, 950 Woodlawn Road West in Guelph, Ontario. Tickets are available at the link on our bio through wellingtonbrewery.ca. And you can follow us on the event as well. Adult tickets include a pint of beer, just for your information. So March 12th, 7 o'clock at Wellington Brewery at 950 Woodlawn Road West here in Guelph, Ontario. Check out their website for more information about this Reptiles and Loggers event, wellingtonbrewery.ca. Try a Welly on, and please remember to drink responsibly. And Wellington Brewery is proudly Canadian and celebrating their 40th year as one of Canada's oldest local craft breweries as well. So on March 12th, 7 p.m., check out Wellington Brewery for their Lizards and Loggers interactive reptile show as well. Before we wrap up this show, guys, as always, you guys can now follow me on Blue Sky. I am now on Blue Sky, which is like what Twitter used to be, at Live with CDP on Blue Sky. Okay, if you're looking to adopt a pet, check out the Cambridge and District Humane Society at 1650 Dunbar Road in Cambridge, Ontario. Telephone number 519-623-7722, extension 0, or visit their website at cambridgehumanesociety.org. All of the animals up for adoption, their profiles are on cambridgehumanesociety.org, and they are doing a quarterly a 50-50 draw, and you can purchase tickets at cambridgehumanesociety.org. Click on and pursue all their programs at the Cambridge and District Humane Society. And if you're looking to volunteer at the Cambridge District Humane Society as a dog walker like myself, you can fill out a volunteer form through their website, cambridgehumanesociety.org as well. And they do really great work down there, and a lot of great animals down there that find forever homes and families at the Cambridge District Humane Society. Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show is live streamed on these platforms: YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, X, Twitch, LinkedIn, and now on Instagram. And make sure you hit follow and subscribe as well. You can check out my website at beacons.ai/Chris D. Pame. Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show again is brought to you by Barry Collins Chevrolet Dealership at 905 Woodlawn Road West in the Guelph Auto Mall. Check out barrycollin.com for the newest selection of new and pre-owned GM vehicles, or check out their old electric vehicles and Cadillac vehicles as well. And you can call them at 594-210 and tell them Chris Palme sent you, or you can email the dealership at info@barrycullen.com. I am back on TikTok, guys. You can follow me on TikTok at Chris Palme in my new page. Please hit follow and like, as I am now back on TikTok. StreamYard is the official live stream provider of Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show. If you're into webinars or podcasting, check out StreamYard.com. I have been a customer of StreamYard now for over 4 years. Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show, the audio version is on these platforms: iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Spotify for podcasters, Apple Podcasts, Breaker, Pocket Cast, Spotify, Castbox, LinkedIn, Pandora, Tuned In, YouTube Music, and Good Pods. And remember to subscribe and hit the like notification. You can email the show at cpalme19@gmail.com. Any comments, questions, suggestions, feedback would be greatly appreciated. And I'm also on PayPal. If you'd like to support my radio and media work through PayPal, cpalme19@gmail.com. And also, I am on cameo.com. If you'd like a personalized video from yours truly, CDP, type in cameo.com, type in Chris Palme, and book your Cameo today as well. And also, you can follow me on all these social media platforms: Facebook, X, Threads, and Blue Sky. And also, please remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel and hit the like notification. And again, I want to say thank you to my guests today, Malachi and Dani Luv, the LuvLees, for coming on here today. And I really appreciate them coming on my 499th show. And also, remember, my 500th episode is going to be tomorrow, Tuesday, February 25th at 12:30 Eastern, with Pat Gregor coming on for a record 10th time. And we're going to talk National Lacrosse League with Pat, National Football League, and about some of my 500 shows as well. So hopefully you guys can tune into Pat Gregor, and he knows the National Lacrosse League as good as anybody in that league. And him and John Gerkler, the longtime play-by-play announcer for the Buffalo Bandits, are the ones that really got me into the game of lacrosse as well. And speaking of lacrosse, the Bandits won 13-12 Saturday night against San Diego. The Bandits are now 8-1, and they're on the road again this Saturday night, taking on the Saskatchewan Rush. The Saskatchewan Rush for first place in the National Lacrosse League as well. And that game is on NLL.com. Just sign up with an email and a password, and you can watch live stream broadcasts of the National Lacrosse League there as well. Again, thank you so much to the LuvLees, Makaya. Thank you so much to the LuvLees for coming on here today. And please follow them on their Facebook, Instagram page, and YouTube as the LuvLees as well. And that's about it. I hope everybody has a great afternoon, and we'll see you back here tomorrow at 12:30 for the 500th episode of Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show, brought to you by Barry Cullen Chevrolet Dealership and Wellington Brewery here in Guelph. Have a great afternoon, everybody, and thanks again for watching and listening to Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show.